All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Tim Mooney. I have a couple of distinguished panelists with me. Sumesh and Shefali will doing the bulk of our presentation today. Our topic is upgrading to Enterprise Manager 13.5. We've got a lot of great new features that we'll be getting into. Before we get started, a couple of logistics. We do have some experts on the line. So we have available to you the Q&A panel down at the bottom. Ask your questions throughout the session and we'll address those as soon as we can. We also have some dedicated time at the end for Q&A. So this is a great opportunity to get answers directly from the source. And thank you very much for joining. All right, let's go to the next slide. So first of all, 13.5 is brand new, and we just had a big announcement earlier, well, actually the end of last month. Here I'm highlighting Edward Screven, our chief corporate architect, who actually participated in our announcement. He did a great job along with Mugis Minhas. In about 30 minutes, you can see this recording on YouTube. So next slide. One aspect of the announcement and discussion was around the resilient platform, and that's a lot of what we'll be talking about today, essentially focusing on EM as a platform and recognizing people are using this for mission critical monitoring and activities to manage their database fleet. So I'm not going to go into in-depth in any of these because Sumesh and Shefali will be doing that. And in fact, Sumesh, Shefali, any comments here before we get started?
Yeah, so yeah, Tim. So really excited to have this deep dive for the upgrade where I'll be, myself and Shefali will be covering this innovations in the platform area. So it will be a good deep dive for all the customers to learn about the different strategies, the best practices for upgrading their enterprise manager to the latest version, which is 13.5.
Okay, fantastic. Take it over, Sumesh.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Yeah, so welcome everyone to this upgrade deep dive session. So my name is Sumesh Balakrishnan from the product management team. And joining with me today is Shefali Bhargava from the product management team. So we will be covering the upgrade deep dive. So as part of the content overview, if you look at this entire session is covered with 4 main items. One is that we are going to talk about the release model and then what's new in the platform area. And then we'll be moving to the upgrade part, like why you should do an upgrade to 13.5. And then what are the different strategies and methods that we have for you to do a painless and a predictable upgrade. And then, and the last, we will be covering about the post-upgrade activities, like what things you should watch out for in order to get a stable and a performant environment. And also how you can upgrade your agents once you're done with your EM upgrade or the OMS upgrade. So this is the overview of what we'll be covering in today's session. So with that, let me move on to the first thing, which is the release model. So as you all know, we have launched the 13.5, which is the latest and the greatest release of Enterprise Manager, which is available for download from the oracle.com and also from the e-delivery. So this is the latest release from the 13C platform. And with respect to the innovations in this area, we have done a lot of investment in the last 1 year to make it more resilient and more usable to the user, to the customers. So with respect to the platform area, we have done some enhancements or improvements in this area with respect to the smart install or the smart and the secure install, because what we have done in 13.5 is we have optimized the installation process from all those parameters based, and we have incorporated all those things into the installer itself. So customers need not to go and search for any of the parameters from the document and then they don't need to pass those parameters to the installation, the binary file. So all those things has been taken care of in the installer example, including the SSL configuration. If you have the secure database, then you can use the installer itself to get all those values, the SSL, the key store and other things honored as part of the installation screen, and it will let you to proceed with the upgrade and carry over the configuration. And when it comes to the next part, which is our key and important thing with respect to the new release model, one of the main thing is the optimized patching for agent as well as for the OMS. And in that space, what we have done with respect to the patching itself is the zero downtime patching for the OMS. And also with respect to the agents, we are going to have a system patch model for the agents, which will have a unified or consolidated patch for applying your platform patches, the agent plugin patches in a one unified way. So that is also one of the key improvements that we have done with respect to the patching area. And when it comes to the monitoring of the EM system itself, we have enhanced in that area as well, like how to proactively alert the administrator so that they can continue to keep an eye on this EM as a whole system so that it can serve to their end users without going down or without running into any of the performance issues. So with respect to the self-monitoring, there are a lot of enhancements done in 13.5, and there are more to come in the future RUs of 13.5. So we'll be talking about all these things in the further slides. But overall, these are the key main items that we have covered, that we have done in the platform area. So if you look at the smart and secure install, like what we have done in 13.5 is we have taken a new stack of WebLogic, and along with that, we have also updated our JDK. The one which we are shipping with 13.5 is 261, but we have this latest 291 is available, and that is under the certification process. So it will be soon certified so that you can stay up latest on the JDK update for 13.5. And with respect to the upgrade parts, so we have taken N-2 rule saying that we will allow the direct upgrade path for the customers who are on, say, from 13.3, they can do a direct upgrade to 13.5. And for customers who are on 13.4, they can do a direct upgrade to 13.5. But what happens to the customers who are still running on the older versions of Enterprise Manager? So they have to take a two-step process to come to the 13.5 upgrade. So that means if you're running on an older version, which is less than 13.3, then you have to ensure that you come to the supported version. Either you come to 13.3 or you come to 13.4, and from there you can smoothly upgrade your EM to 13.5 version. So next, in terms of the optimization, like I said in the beginning, we have included the options in the installer itself, so which will actually reduce the effort in going back and then finding out what parameters are required. So those things has been incorporated in our installation flow itself, and I'll talk about that in my further slides. That is one of the key improvements in the installation. And one of the other important things that we have done with respect to 13.5 is we have reduced the footprint of the software itself by removing the BA publisher from our software stack. So we have, starting from 13.5, when you deploy Enterprise Manager or when you upgrade Enterprise Manager to 13.5, you will not see the BA publisher that will be embedded with the software. So the BA publisher footprint is completely removed, and your OMS has become lightweight with 13.5. So we will also talk about how you can upgrade or migrate your existing BA publisher report to the new system, which is called the Oracle Analytics Server, which we are introducing in the 13.5 release in the further slides. With respect to the database as a repository, as you know, many of our customers are still running on the 12c version of database for their 13.3 and 13.4, because that was the most popular and stable one from the database side. But now that we have moved all the way till 19, so for 13.5, what we have decided is let's upgrade, or let's give an opportunity for the customers to move the database from 12C version to 19C. So with that in mind, what we have done is we are recommending all the customers to upgrade the database from 12C to 19, especially with respect to 19. We are going to recommend customers to move to 19.11, which is the latest and greatest RU update from the database team, because that is what is considered stable from the database side itself. So we recommend all the customers to move to from 12 to 19 before they plan for their upgrade. Even for the fresh install of 13.5, we highly recommend the customers to move on with the 19C, because we will not even support the 12C version of database, even if you try to install using 12C with 13.5. So that is one thing. And the second and the last one with respect to the database prerequisite checks is we have consolidated our execution of the prerequisite checks that we do on the database side into one consolidated page. And we are also giving a single unified HTML report where customers can view it to understand what parameters have failed, what parameters have been given warning. And the other thing, the cool thing, what we have done is we are providing an auto fix option where customers say, okay, these are all the parameters that you can auto fix it. So customer can select those parameters, and in the installer, they can say auto fix, and we will go and auto fix those parameters on the fly, and customer can move on with the install or the upgrade process. So that is also one of the key improvements that we have done with respect to the platform area. And the next, the upcoming things, this is very important in terms of the optimization and the secure install with respect to installation and patching. So we are going to handle the configuring or carrying over of the secure configuration on the database side, because most of the database now for the repository, customers are hardening with respect to the TLS, with respect to the SSL certificates. So we want to make sure we are not asking the customers to remove those security hardening and then do an upgrade and then reconfigure it. So that was still till 13.4 release. But starting with 13.5, we are going to carry over the secure configuration on the database, which is done by the customers on the repository database. And we are going to carry it over as part of the upgrade process itself, so that your upgrade is also secure. You don't have any middleman attack where you're rolling back the secure configuration on the database side. So that is something that is going to come in the release update of 13.5. And also the database templates. So database templates has been very popular for customers who want to do a quick install. So that is also something work in progress, and it should be available soon for customers. And we will be uploading the database templates only for 19.11 version. We are not going to release it for 18 or 12 because those versions are not supported. And also the other beauty thing that we are going to support is the autonomous database as a repository for enterprise manager. And this has been a popular ask from a couple of customers, like when EM is going to support the autonomous as a repository, so that customers can leverage all the autonomous features to get the maximum performance out of EM. So that is also something that will come in the RUs of 13.5. And the other two key important from the Enterprise Manager 13.5 release itself is the zero downtime patching for OMS and the system patch model for the agent. So these two are the key important focus for the platform itself. And we are going to enable these two features right from the first RU of 13.5, because these two features are mainly targeted for the release updates. So right from the first RU or RU1 of 13.5, customers will be able to apply the OMS patch in the zero downtime mode. And similarly, for the agent patches, we will be shipping or we will be releasing only one single system patch for the agents. So customers can download only one patch and they can use the patch plan or gold image to roll out the patches on their agents. So that is also one of the significant improvements that we have done with respect to the agent patches, and also the benefit of monitoring your critical system and making sure your monitoring is always in place while you patch your OMS, and that will be achieved through the zero downtime patching framework. So these are the key important things that we will be delivering it in the RUs of 13.5. So this is again one of the key important thing with respect to the prerequisite checks. Like I said in the previous slide, we have this auto fix option. Like this is one consolidated view for your entire database checks, where it will run. You can run it on a standalone mode even before you start with the install or even before you start with the upgrade. If you want to check the health of your repository database to make sure all the parameters are set properly, so that during the upgrade, you don't want to go back and do the alteration on the database side. So you can invoke it on a standalone mode, and then you can run this utility, and this utility will tell you what parameters requires a manual fix and what parameters can be fixed using this auto fix option. So you get a consolidated view like this in an HTML report, where you can keep this as a template if you're using it for the fresh install, or if you have multiple environments in place where you need to do an upgrade, you can keep this as a reference, and then you can use this as a template and then fix all the other environments for these parameters, or you can even run the prerequisite checks to get this consolidated report, and then you can use this for a future reference. So this is one of the other improvement that we have done with respect to the platform area. And the other thing with respect to the upgrade optimization is we have included this upgrade software only with plugins as part of the installer itself. So till 13.3 and 13.4, we were asking customers to pass the parameters to the installation binary file so that we deploy the bits and the plugins, and then we allow them to configure later. But starting to 13.5, we don't want customers to go back and take the parameter and then copy it and then pass it to the installer. So all those efforts has been reduced. And what we have done is we have included that option in the installer itself, because this is what the recommended option from our side in order to reduce the downtime when you're doing an upgrade to 13.5. So this is the option. I will talk about more in my further slides.
Hey, Sumesh, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yes, Tim.
We have a question about adding Golden Gate plugins during the upgrade. Is that an option for 13.5 at this point?
Yes. So we have all the compatible plugins. Whatever compatible plugins that we have tested for 13.5, all those plugins are going to be available on OTN. It's already work in progress. So like Golden Gate, your Oracle database appliance, your PeopleSoft, your e-business suite, all those compatible plugins for 13.5 is going to be updated on the OTN page. So if you have those add-on plugins, then you can download from our OTN page and you can stage it in a directory, and you can pass those compatible plugins during the upgrade, and we will pick those compatible plugins, and then we will upgrade your Golden Gate from the older version to the new version as part of the 13.5 upgrade itself. So
okay,
the plugins are compatible. The compatible plugins are going to be available on OTN, so you can download and make use of that during your upgrade process.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
So the next is about the self-monitoring, because this is also one of the key area that we want to improve, and we are going to continuously improve on this self-monitoring features in the RUs of 13.5, where after the upgrade, most of the times you want to make sure your system is up and running and it's always in a healthy state. You don't want the system to go into some of the unstable things, right? So that is, for that reason, what we have done is we have implemented a proactive check on the and alerting for some of the critical items that we think that the administrator should take care immediately when they go to this MTM page or the manage the manager page in the EM console. So we throw an alert to the administrator, and so that they can take an immediate action to fix those issues. And if they ignore those alerts, then it could potentially lead the system to be down, or it will lead to performance issues, or it can it can go into a mode where it can crash the OMS and it can bring down the whole system altogether. So that proactive monitoring has been is what we have introduced in 13.5. With respect to that, we also enhanced our compliance rules, where we have created a compliance standard which will periodically check and alert the administrator if your workload is getting changed from, say, medium to large or from large to extra large deployment, so that we will alert you to go and tune your system so that it can handle that extra configuration that got added to the system. And that is one of the key improvements. The other major thing is about our job system itself, or the job engine, which is the core for this enterprise manager. So whatever that we do in enterprise manager, it goes through the job system. So with considering that, we have enhanced the job system to make sure we have this diagnostics in place, which can help the customers to drill down into see what job, because job system, most of the times it runs into a backlog, or sometimes when you submit a job, it goes into a scheduled state. And if you want to understand what went wrong in the job system, why the jobs are getting stuck, or why there is a more backlog on the job system, you can go to the job diagnostics, you can drill down to see all those details. And this is also something we have done it in 13.4 in the release update, but in 13.5 there are more additional things has been added. So these are some of the enhancements that we have done in 13.5 platform area to make the life of administrator easy, and also to proactively alert them with all those known issues, so that administrator can run the EM system in a very reliable way. So these are all some of the key enhancements with respect to the self-monitoring in the platform area. And the other important thing, like I said, the removing of BA Publisher and what is that we're replacing with is one of the biggest questions from most of the customers who were heavily using the BA Publisher in their existing 13.3 or 13.4 EMs. So we are going to replace, or we are not going to deploy as part of the 13.5 software. We are asking the customers to do a standalone installation of this Oracle Analytics server, which will help you to create reports or to maintain reports, or you can import reports from BA Publisher into OAS. So this OAS is going to be a standalone utility where we have a detailed white paper and documentation on how you can deploy the standalone OAS server, and how you can use that OAS server to create reports, and you can play around with that. And one important thing is about the licensing. So here I will call Shefali from my team to just talk about more on this one for the better clarity with respect to BA Publisher and OAS. Shefali, can you please chime in here?
Thanks, Sumesh. Yeah. So OAS will continue to be used with the same restricted use license that we had with embedded BI Publisher. That means that it is restricted for use with the Enterprise Manager Repository and the AWR data dictionaries of the target databases. So with this change, you do get to use all the rich features of OAS as well. Previously, we had the OBIEE installation that used to be separate, that had bigger features and that needed separate licensing. But with OAS, we do allow you to use the rich features of OAS so long as you're restricted to the EM repository. And for those who do not use OAS or BI Publisher, you will definitely benefit from the simplified EM installation and the reduced EM footprint. So like Sumesh already mentioned, we do have a complete white paper with detailed installation instructions and configurations. And for those of you who want to migrate your custom reports, there are detailed instructions for that. And also on how to get your current out-of-box reports viewed in the standalone installation will also be covered in that paper. You do have to install it on a separate host. I'm trying to address some of the questions from the audience here. You do have to install it on a separate host so that you don't interfere with the efficiency of the OMS. Yeah, that should cover it.
Yeah, thank you, Shefali, for providing the clarity around this OAS and BA publisher.
Yeah, and I'll just to add one other comment there. We've seen a number of questions around the OAS and the differences with our visualizations here. And I'll say I can see the potential for having another deep dive workshop or webinar on this topic. We have one of our biggest system integrators is super excited about the options and the features of this new method. So if anybody has any questions or comments on that, put those in the Q&A and we'll make that a part of our next session.
Thank you, Tim. So till now, what we have seen is about the release roadmap and what's new in the 13.5 platform area. And this is just a small subset in the platform area, but we have a lot of exciting features from the product itself from 13.5 in terms of the database management, in terms of extensibility and other areas. So that is on the release roadmap and the what's new in platform. Now we are going to jump on to see why you should upgrade to Enterprise Manager. And one of the biggest question or what I've been hearing from customers is, I have upgraded or I completed my upgrade in the last couple of months and I've moved all my environments to 13.4. So why should I think about upgrading again to 13.5, right? So one of the reasons for that is the support policy. Like I'll just talk about that using this slide to explain what the support policy means for an existing customer who are on 13.3 and 13.4 and why they should plan for upgrading their EM to 13.5. So considering the 12C, 12C is already out of support. We are not shipping any more patches or we are not giving any more PSUs for the 12C version of Enterprise Manager. So definitely all the customers who are on the 12.05 or 12C version of Enterprise Manager, they should start thinking about or planning for their upgrade and they should come to the supported version. If they're on 12.05, they can very well come to 13.3 and from 13.3, they can directly do an upgrade to 13.5. But if you're on the 13.2 or if you're in the 13C family, and if you're on 13.2, again, 13.2 is already out of support. We are not, again, releasing any more PSUs or bundle patches. So again, the potential impact here is the 13.2 customers should also think about moving to 13.5, considering they don't have the direct upgrade path supported. So they should definitely plan for upgrading their 13.2 to 13.4, and then from 13.4, they can upgrade to 13.5. And when it comes to 13.3 customers, so 13.3, as you look here, the support is almost ended, right? And the last PSU that we rolled out for 13.3 is around in the month of Jan. And we highly encourage all the 13.3 customers to plan for their 13.5 upgrade because the support is almost ended for 13.3 customers and there are not going to be any bundle patches on top of 13.3 version. And when it comes to 13.4, because 13.4 is fairly new before we released 13.5, and we were actively releasing the release updates on a monthly basis, and we've released RU10, the latest and greatest on top of 13.4. But 13.4, eventually, if you look at, since we have 13.5 in place and that we released in April, 13.4 life is going to be exactly 1 year from the date we released 13.5. So that means your 13.4 is going to be in support till the next year, April 2022. So after that, it is going to be out of support, and definitely you should plan for moving your 13.4 to 13.5 by the end of this year. That will be the best, or before next April 2022. So once you move into 13.5, it is going to be the long-term extended support. So that means your 13.5 is going to be in extended support till December 2026. So that is why we are saying it's a long-term support, and we'll continue to give the release update on a monthly basis for 13.5 version. So that is what I've updated here. So we are highly recommending all our 13.3 customers, they should definitely plan for upgrading to 13.5 because of the support policy. And for 13.4 customers, we highly encourage you to plan for the upgrade to 13.5 because by end of this year or when you start next year and when you come to April, after April 2022, your 13.4 will be out of support. So it's better to plan right now so that you can end up upgrading all your environments before this end of 2021. So that is about the support policy. That is one of the aspects to upgrade to 13.5. And the other aspects are related to the new features with respect to the platform area and with respect to the other areas in the database management and also in the extensibility. So these are some of the exciting features, and we are going to continue develop and put more features in the RUs of 13.5, which will be really exciting for all the customers, or the customers have been asking for a long time, which are going to put it in the 13.5 release updates. So that is also one of the reasons that you should think about or plan for your upgrading your EM to 13.5 version. So with these two in place, you should definitely plan for the upgrade. And that is the reason I'm saying that definitely upgrading to 13.5 is going to be the best for all the customers. So next we are going to talk about now, till now we have seen why you should upgrade, but there's always question, okay, now let me understand what are all the things that is involved in upgrading the enterprise manager. What are all the best practices or the strategies, or how I can get the upgrade without much of the pain points, right? How I can do a seamless upgrade to 13.5. So here I'll be covering some of the strategies or overview or some of the best practice tips, how you can make sure you get a successful upgrade to Enterprise Manager 13.5. So as part of that is the overview process. So if you look at the overall upgrade process in a holistic way, it contains of key 4 items. So the first one talks about the collaboration with Oracle support, that is through the Puma program, where customers can engage and collaborate with our Oracle support, where we can share the best practices and we can help you to better plan for your upgrade through the Puma engagement. So that is the first step. And the second step is to make sure you're preparing your environment and planning for the upgrade, because that is a very important step, because you need to understand what software, what plugins are available, what your system is currently configured with, whether my system is having all the customization, whether it can carry it over as part of upgrade, what additional software I need to get, example in terms of the plugins, like I said, or if you have the BA publisher, how you can make sure you can move it before the upgrade. And the other important thing is database upgrade, how you can plan for your database upgrade. And once you upgrade your database, you have to ensure that your existing environment works with that database before you plan for the upgrade to 13.5. So the preparation and the planning plays a very important role, so that you better plan so that you get a successful upgrade. So once you're done with the preparation planning, what's the next step, right? So the next step is to pick the least environment, which you think that it's having a very less configuration, or you can think about development or test upgrade. You can do an upgrade of that system to 13.5 and see how the upgrade as a process is working, whether all the new options you're able to adjust to it. And then you can validate how the upgrade is performing. Because this is a very small system, you can quickly evaluate whether the upgrade is working fine or not. Okay, once now the upgrade is completed, how you can validate the new features that is there in the product, and how you can play around with all those new features and see whether you are hitting any bugs, or you can also validate the overall performance after the upgrade is done. And once that system is done, you can slowly move to the higher lanes of your environment, like you can move to your non-production, and then once that is completed, you can move on to the production. So that is the upgrade stage. And the last and the final stage is about how, once the upgrade is completed, how are you going to maintain the health of the system? How you want to ensure that the stability is in place, like how you were running the enterprise manager before upgrade. You want the same stability to be there in place after you move to the new version of or you move to the new stack, right? So you have to make sure you are continuously watching or monitoring the health of the system as a part of post-upgrade task. And also the next big thing is about planning for the agent upgrades, because your older agents will continue to work. There is no doubt about it. But eventually you should plan for upgrading your agents to 13.5 so that it can better adopt the new features with respect to the plugins that is monitoring, or whether with respect to the targets it is monitoring, right? So in a nutshell, if you look at the overview process, it consists of these four main pillars. I'll go deep into each of these four items. So the first one is about the Puma program. Like I said, the Puma program is designed to engage the customers and collaborate with Oracle support for the better upgrade experience. So we highly encourage all the customers to enroll into the Puma program if you are planning for your upgrade to 13.5. So all you need to do is, you just need to, if you are aware of your customer success manager or your point of contact or your account manager, you can engage through them. Or if you're not sure who is your CSM or the account manager, you can directly log an SR with Oracle support saying that you require Puma assistance for your upgrade, and we will pick that SR, and then we will work it internally, and then we will collaborate with you and move on and proceed with the next steps in engaging you into the Puma program. But in 13.4, we have engaged a lot of customers, and a lot of customers upgraded through this program, and they see a lot of value in this. Some of the customers also quoted that it's a life saver for the upgrade process altogether. So this will definitely, it's going to be a benefit for the customers, because it reduces the back and forth between the support and the customer. It reduces a lot of SR movement. Reduces your time in saving, and it will help you to better plan and upgrade your system. And it will also help you for the post upgrade also, right? Because it is not only the upgrade that we handle. After the upgrade, if you see any performance issues, or if you want assistance with applying the patches, or assistance with rolling out the agent upgrades, all those things will be taken care of as part of the Puma program, until you say that, okay, I'm fully satisfied. My system is completely running in a healthy and a stable state. Now, okay, I'm good to go. From that point is what we drop the Puma engagement. So till the time we will be there with the customer, and then once we hear from we hear from the customer saying that I'm good, my system is running stable, then we drop the support, which means we come out of the Puma program and we send a survey to ask about the feedback. So overall, this is one of the valuable things. I highly encourage all the customers to enroll into it for the better upgrade experience.
Sumesh, I did hear from a couple of our folks in the audience, even before the session, about getting additional support for 13.5s. And so the Puma program is a great way to take advantage of that. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, correct, Tim. Absolutely. Puma is one of our biggest engagement that we have done in 13.3 and 13.4. And we have seen a lot of customers utilizing it and making all the way their upgrade successful. So we highly encourage all our customers to engage into Puma for the better 13.5 upgrade experience as well.
Great.
So moving on to the upgrade itself, like I'm highlighting these four things in order to get a successful upgrade, or the key things to get your upgrade successful. One is about, the first thing is downloading the software. Along with downloading the software, you should also take care of downloading the plugins that the additional plugins like the Golden Gate or Oracle Database Appliance or eBus. So all those plugins will be available on OTM. You can download and stage them. And once you're done with that, then the next step is about the database upgrade, which is very important, because we will block the upgrade if we detect if you're upgrading from using a 12c version of database. So in order to make sure you are having all the preparation step done, you upgrade the database and you apply the latest PSU on top of the 19c version. And once you're done with that, run through the upgrade documentation to see what prereq we have updated. Make sure you are checking all those prereq in your environment, and also verify with the MOS node, the MOS checklist node that we have put it on the MOS for the upgrade. So verify all those things. And once you're done with all those, then the next final step for you is to do an upgrade to 13.5. So if you follow those four methods or the four steps, then definitely you will have a better and a successful upgrade. And you don't run into any of the issues during upgrade or failures during upgrade. So as part of the preparation, the first step is about you should understand what upgrade paths are supported and what is not supported, because that is the first step. Once you understand that, then you can move on to the next process in preparing your environment for upgrade. So in that, the first is the upgrade path. Like I said before, what we have done is we are supporting the direct upgrade path from 13.3 to 13.5 and 13.4 to 13.5. If you are in the lower version, then definitely you should start thinking about upgrading to the supported version. And from there, you can upgrade to the 13.5 version. So in terms of the lower version, you can always come to, from 12.05, you can always come to 13.3. And from 13.2, instead of going to 13.3, you can also go from 13.2 to 13.4. And from 13.4, you can come to 13.5. So once you understand, okay, this is going to be my upgrade paths. Okay, now I am in the supported direct upgrade path. As a next step, what should I do? The first thing is you should understand, or you should verify the certification matrix to ensure your OMS that is running is actually supported for 13.5 or not. If you're running on a lower version of platform like OEL 6.3 and below, or 6.6 and below, then you should make sure you upgrade your OS, and then you can plan for your OMS upgrade. And in terms of the database, as a first step, like I said, please ensure that you upgrade the database and come to the supported version, which is 19C, and then make sure your existing environment is working with 19C as a repository, and then you can plan for your upgrading to 13.5. And also, one of the other important things that we have done with respect to 13.5 is we have dropped the HP UX platform for OMS. So there will not be any software, 13.5 software available for HP UX for deploying it for OMS alone. We are still shipping the agent software on HP UX, but not OMS. So there'll be questions like, how, if I'm a 13.3 or 13.4 customer running on HP UX, how should I upgrade to 13.5, right? So for that, what we have done is we have this migration workflow or the steps created, and we have put the migration Moss note where customers can take a step-by-step action to migrate their existing environment, which is running on HP UX, whether it is 13.3 or 13.4. They can easily migrate their OMS to a supported platform, for example, Linux. From HP UX, they can move the OMS to Linux, and they can, once they are successfully migrated their environment from HP UX to Linux, they can validate the environment, and from there, they can upgrade their environment to 13.5. So when they do an upgrade from HP UX 13.3 directly to 13.5, they will not be able to do it because the software itself is not available. So they have to take a path of migration. So the first step is to migrate. And once your migration is done, then you can plan for the upgrade. So we have this Moss note available which talks about the detailed steps on how you can migrate your OMS. And we highly encourage you, if you are running your OMS on HP UX, then this is also one of the things that you should plan for, migrating your OMS to the certified platform, and then you can plan for your upgrade to 13.5. So now that we have seen about the database and the OS certification metrics, now as part of the preparation and health checks, there are a few housekeeping things that you should do to make sure your environment is all verified before you actually proceed with your upgrade process. So one of the things is about the optimizer parameters. So some of these optimizer parameters we asked the customers to do it as part of their older versions upgrades like 13.3 or 13.4, and some of the customers might have not reset those parameters as part of post-upgrade actions. They would have left all these parameters in the database. So we anyways capture it all these parameters as part of our prerequisite checks. But in case if you're not sure whether you have executed or not, you can always go and verify in your repository. And if it is set all this underscore optimizer parameters, you can very well unset it before you move on with your upgrade process. So that is one thing. And the other thing is about your database upgrade and applying the latest PSU. And once your upgrade of your database is completed, make sure if you're changing any listener port as part of the database upgrade, which needs to be there, example, you definitely need to change the port from say 1521 to 1523 on the listener because of some policy changes, then you ensure those configurations are updated with respect to the OMS, and you run this, you store those details in your existing OMS before you plan for your upgrade, because once the database is upgraded, you have to ensure the existing OMS is working before you even plan for your 13.5 upgrade. So the next thing about the health check is about the obsoleted plugins. So every release of with every release of Enterprise Manager, we are obsoleting some of the plugins because we are not doing any active development. So we always recommend the customers to go and undeploy these plugins from both the OMS and the agent, so that you don't get blocked when you do an upgrade, right? So if you take care of this undeploying the plugins well before the upgrade, then you can have a smooth upgrade flow. And these are all the obsolete plugins. This is already there in the MOS checklist node as well. And the other important thing is about the BA Publisher report, where we will give a high-level view in the further slides, how you can take care of moving your existing reports to OAS, so that it will not get impacted, or after the upgrade is done, you can still view your custom reports that you created with your older version, and it will continue to work after the upgrade is done. So we will talk about that in the further slides. And the other important thing is your agents, because all this upgrade, most of the customers are doing the chain upgrade all these years, right? Because most of the customers would have come all the way from 12 to 13, and between 13 they have come from 13.1 to 13.2 to 13.3 to 13.4. So in all this way, right, we can see a lot of older agents will be still there, because some of the customers still want to manage the legacy databases, like example 9i or even 10.204 or 10.205, because that would have been deployed on an older version of Oracle Linux or Red Hat Linux, or say older versions of the platform, right, where we don't support those versions with the latest 13.5. So, but customers would have been still managing those targets with the older version. But as part of the upgrade, we will detect if there are any older version of agents in the system. That means if we detect that if you're running any 12c version or less than 13.3, then we block during the upgrade process. So we highly recommend the customers, as part of the preparation planning step, if you have the older versions, make sure you upgrade those agents to the latest supported version, and then you can plan for your upgrade. Otherwise, you will be blocked with the upgrade, and you definitely have to find a way. Either you can upgrade the agents, or you can totally decommission those agents if you don't require any more in the system. And the other, that is one of the important thing. And the other thing is about the copying of the EM key, because this is what something we have seen customers are missing, where if they miss the step, then it leads to the failure in the upgrade. So ensure that you're copying the EM key before the upgrade, and after the upgrade is completed, make sure you're removing the EM key from the repository. So these are the important things with respect to the upgrade preparation. And the next is about the downloading of software. Like I said, the add-on plugins will be available. And the other important thing with respect to the load balancer, like in 13.4, what we have seen is most of the customers upgraded their environment, but after the upgrade got completed, we have got we got SRs and issues from customers saying that their console is not working, or the SLB is broken, right? So we have a MOS note, and also we have a white paper which talks about the detailed steps on what changes we have done with respect to the SLB layer. Because some of the health monitorings send and receive string have got changed in 13.5. with respect to some of the Apache layers. So I highly encourage all the customers to review this MOS note, and there is a white paper. Please review those settings on the FI layer before you plan for the upgrade.
Sumesh, just want to do a time check here. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I want to thank our audience for all these fantastic questions, and Shefali and others answering those questions, and you as well. So just a time check, and keep asking your questions in the Q&A panel, folks.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. I will just go over the few other slides here. Basically, for the best practices, so this is also one of the checklist item that is already there in the MOS checklist note. You can review all these things has been updated there. And then with respect to the database PSUs, and we will talk about this BI publisher explicitly in the further slides. So Shefali, can you please give an overview on this one for the better clarity?
Yeah, so one of the first steps of, when you're considering migrating your BI publisher to OAS is going to be part of your entire upgrade. Do you need to upgrade your repository? And if that is the case, that is the first recommended step for BI Publisher 2. What we would recommend is that you export your custom reports from EM so that you do not waste any of the hard work that you've put into that. And then you go ahead and install your standalone OAS and configure it with this new EM repository. Next, Sumesh. You would like to probably configure your OAS with the same security model that you were using in EM, which is either the OMS-based, OMR-based repo security-based or LDAP. And then if you had appropriate roles in your EM for the BI Publisher reports, then you want to configure those in OAS too. And once that is done, you want to go ahead and import your custom reports into your OAS configuration. This way, you have your standalone OAS installation up and running, independent of your OMS 13.5 upgrade, and this will not affect your OMS downtime at all. Once you're ready to upgrade your 13.5, you bring down your OAS so that it's not, trying to connect to the EM repository and trying to generate reports. And then once you're complete with your 13.5 upgrade, we will have our out-of-box reports in your 13.5 installation, and that whole package can be imported into your standalone OS installation. So that all of the out-of-box reports that we still continue to support with EM will now be imported into your OS, and then you can go ahead and view your 13.5 reports from your standalone independent OS installation. So this is the recommended flow, especially if you use custom reports. You would like to keep this so that everything stays smooth. Go ahead, Sumesh.
Yeah, thank you, Shefali. So I'll quickly go over this upgrade strategies, because this is one of the important things where you need to understand what are the best methods available for you to get a successful upgrade. So let's start with the first thing. We have three strategies available here. One is about cloning your environment. And then the second method is about doing the repository only upgrade. And the third one is about doing your standalone lab or dev system upgrade. So in the first method, where we are saying your replica of your production system, where you can create a replica environment of your production by cloning the repository and by cloning your OMS, where you can create an intermittent OMS system, which can be a single OMS system, which will have the data of your production, which will on the repository, and on the OMS side, you'll have all the same plugin configuration because we are cloning the OMS and we are creating a new system. So on that new system, you'll be performing the upgrade. So what exactly it will do is, it will help you to validate whether the data inside the repository and the data inside the OMS with respect to the plugins is all in a healthy state when you actually go for the production upgrade. So this will help you to ensure the data integrity is there, meaning you don't run into any of the data issues in the repository, and also we don't see any issues with respect to the plugins. So this method is what we recommend as part of the Primo program. Also, if you don't have an equivalent production environment where you can use the cloning method to create one which will require an additional hardware, but you can create always a single system, single OMS system, and then use that to upgrade and see how it works. So we have all these MOS nodes available for cloning the repository and for cloning the OMS, and you can use those steps to clone the OMS and repository. Right. And the next, if you don't want to go with that method because you don't want to spend time in creating the OMS and other things, and if you want to only validate the repository data upgrade, that is also possible, where you can create a clone of the repository and then you can follow the steps in that is mentioned in this MOS node, which has the standalone steps to upgrade your data inside the repository. So what this does is this actually do the data upgrade, exactly the same scripts that will be called in the upgrade flow. So this will help you to validate the data, because the entire upgrade, your repository data or the repository upgrade is the most time consuming, because we do the data upgrade inside the system and schema, right? So this will help you to detect, even to predict some of the upgrade downtimes, because like I said, this is the most time consuming part of the whole upgrade process. So with this, you can actually predict when you actually go for your production upgrades. And the last one is about your normal dev system, which is a very small system. You can directly do an upgrade and you can make sure, validate from the process perspective whether the upgrade works or not. And some of the recommendation, in order to get the reduced downtime, this is one of the methods we are recommending customers, where I talked about in my initial thing, where you can select this upgrade software only, which will help you to reduce the downtime. And because this is going to place the binaries while your EM is up and running, right? So, and you can take the downtime whenever you have the scheduled outage, and you can just run the configuration alone. So along with that, you can also apply the release update if there are any available in the binary mode, in the bit-only mode, so that you don't need to do the RU patching after the upgrade is done. So this method will help you to save the patching time, as well as it will save in deploying the software binaries. So next is about your additional OMS upgrade, where if you have multiple OMSs and multiple additional OMSs, and if you want to optimize where you don't want to go to individual OMSs and then do the upgrade, we have this parallel OMS upgrade, where you can just shut down all the OMS, you can upgrade the primary, and once the primary upgrade is completed, it will be up, right? Because your primary is already upgraded, you can still keep your monitoring, or you can just log into the system and you can see the targets and all. But what you can do is, on the additional OMS instances, you can trigger the installation in parallel, and it gets picked up, it gets configured, meaning the upgrade will pick up all the configuration, and then it executes on each of the nodes in parallel, and it gets complete, and then it comes out of the session. So once the upgrade is completed, the OMS gets started automatically on each of the additional OMS instances. So this is the parallel OMS upgrade. And now that there will be a lot of questions around how I can move my existing architecture to the level 4, because that is what is recommended from Oracle side. So how do I ensure that my system I'm moving as part of the upgrade itself, so that I don't want to take additional downtime after the upgrade is done, where I don't want to spend time in converting my existing architecture to the level 4 architecture. So that is something we are providing as part of our upgrade process itself. And this has been there for long, since 32. And we highly recommend the customers to use this option. And I'm showing the architecture. This is how the architecture will look like if you're going with the MAA level 4 deployment, where we make use of the storage application from primary to standby. And if you want to get to this architecture, then we have the method called upgrade and transition, where you can use this flag to the installer, and we honor that flag. This is how it will show up in the installer, and we honor your host name configurations, like alias name configuration, and you can, because the upgrade is out of place, and your new Oracle home is going to be on the shared NFS replicated volume, then we will put the binaries there, and then we configure the old home. We just, as part of the configuration, we just run the upgrade and then make sure your upgrade is successful and it is running from the new mount points. So in this way, you can get to the level 4 architecture And this is one of the, again, recommended way if you're looking for moving your existing architecture to the level 4 architecture. And if you're already on the level 4, then you don't need to do this method, right? You can do the normal upgrade and you don't require any of those additional options.
All right, Sumesh, I just want to interrupt you for 1 second. I know we're at the top of the hour, everyone, and we're just going to keep going. So if you can stick with us for another 5 or 6 minutes, I think we'll get to the end. So thank you, everybody. Great questions. And Sumesh, back to you.
Yeah, sorry, I have only 2-3 slides. So this is the, okay, now that we have completed with the upgrade, right now we have seen all the strategies and process and the methods to do the upgrade and all. Okay, now once you're done with the upgrade, what's the next step that you should take care of to maintain your EM system, right? So as part of that, we always highly encourage the customers to pick the latest RU and apply it on the OMS system. And then make sure you plan for your agent upgrade. Make sure you plan for monitoring the health of the system, because after the upgrade of the system, you have to ensure that the stability and performance is continued. So make sure you keep an eye on the manage the manager page and make sure the health in the health overview page, you are maintaining or you are monitoring the system. And if you see any critical alerts that requires immediate attention, please go and fix those alerts without waiting for a long time, right? You go and fix it immediately so that the system behaves in a stable way and it doesn't crash by itself. So these are some of the important things. And as part of the upgrade, we are also carrying over the custom certificates. So previously, we used to ask the customer to roll back and then reconfigure it as part of post-upgrade. But starting from 13.5, if your WebLogic is configured with custom certificates, we carry the certificates as part of upgrade itself. So there is no work on the customer to reconfigure it after the upgrade is done. So all those things has been taken care. So these are some of the post-upgrade steps which administrators should need to look into it before they roll out their upgraded environment to their end users. And as part of that, the last topic is about the agent upgrades. So agent upgrade, they can very well use our stabilized flow, which is our gold image mechanism, where customers can pick an agent, patch it, they can create a gold image, they can subscribe all the lower versions of agents to it, and they can do an update. So that is a simple 3-step process where they can create gold image, subscribe, and then they can do an update, which will bring all the agents to the 13.5 version. Along with that, they will also get patched that is contained inside the gold image. So in an overview, from the upgrade perspective, if you want to get a painless and a predictable upgrade and a smarter upgrade, you better plan for your upgrade. And the next one is about the engagement, where the collaboration with Oracle support through the Prima program for better upgrade experience. And you follow the process that has been defined in order to get a stress-free upgrade. I mean, once you move to 13.5, you have a stress-free monitoring in place. So these are some of the customers from our side that we have showed in the launch.
Yeah, these customers, I talked to a number of these folks from AT&T to CTDI. Naveen is on the session with us today. So some really important advancements that every level of customer is looking forward to here. And I hope all of you get all the benefit you're looking for in your 13.5 upgrade.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. So these are some of the resources available for you to reference for the upgrade. So overall, that's all from my side. But overall,
switch back to that slide just so people can take a look at that.
Sure. So overall, from our side, we are highly encouraging all the customers to plan for the upgrade by end of this year, so that you are staying, so that you can stay with the supported version. And it's going to be it will be in the long-term support. So better engage with us for a better and a successful upgrade experience.
Great. Sumesh, Shefali, fantastic. And to the audience, great questions, great conversations. Just a couple other highlights. We will publish these slides along with the blog I mentioned in the chat, as well as the Q&A. The blog is already up there, and we'll just update that with the slides and the recording and so on. We will have additional deep dive sessions on the calendar that I shared in the Q&A as well. And we still have a couple questions. So if you have further questions, put them in there and we'll answer them as soon as we can. If we can't during this session, we will be following up with you. So again, thank you all for joining, and hope you really appreciate the new features in 13.5.
Thank you.